afternoon, 6th grade. This afternoon we will be learning how to find a percent of a number. Oftentimes we hear 25% of the students turned in their homework. Hopefully that's not the case. I want to see 100% of people turn in the homework, but that's an example. 25% of students did this. Well, how many students did that? Well, today's is when we are going to find out how to figure that out. So, for example, a Little League team played 30 games and won 80% of its games. Use a proportion to find the number of games the team wins. So we know that there were 30 games played and they won 80% of them. So here's what my proportion looks like. First, I drew a little diagram. I have a line here. This first top line right here represents N. This is what we want to know. We don't know how many of them, how many games they won, or 80% of them, which is a part of the whole. Underneath the second line is the whole, 100%, which is 30. What I want to know is how many games they did win, which is N, or 80%. So I'm going to set up my proportion like this. I take the first number, I have N over 30. So N games over a total of 30 games. This is also my fraction, which equals 80 over 100. 80 over 100. See where I'm getting these numbers from? Then I can use my cross products and solve for N. So 100 N equals 80 times 30. 80 times 30. 8 times 3 is 24. Add the 2 zeros, so 2400 equals 100N. Divide both sides by 100. 2400 divided by 100 is 24. So therefore N equals 24. And of course, what is it that we are counting? We're counting games. So we need to label this. 24 games were won. Let's try another one. Brendan has read 60% of a novel that has 80 pages. Use a proportion to find the number of pages Brendan has read. So first let's draw my little illustration here. I have a line. This is going to represent 60%. We don't know how many pages 60% is, so I'm going to put my variable, N. And of course this is a part. My other line, which is going to be bigger, equals 80 pages, or 100%, because that's the full amount, the whole book. Now I can set up my proportion. N over 80 equals 60 over 100. I'm just taking these two numbers and then these two numbers and putting them on top of each other in fractions or proportions. Now I can cross multiply. 100N equals 80 times 60. 8 times 6 is 48. Add the 2 zeros at the end. So I have 100, N equals 4800. Now I can divide both sides by 100. 4800 divided by 100 is 48. So that means N equals 48. 48 what? 48 pages. So Brendan has read 48 pages of the 80 pages. Now, we're going to try a different strategy to find a percent of a number, and that's with using a decimal. We learned a few lessons ago how to turn a percent to a decimal. So that's what we're going to need to do here. So when we find 22% of 288%, we first need to change the percent to a decimal. So I have 22%. We know from the other day how to change a percent from a decimal. We take the decimal on the end, move it over 2 places, so it becomes 0 and 22 hundredths. So now we've changed it to a decimal. Now we multiply. The word of tells us to multiply. So I have 288 times 0 and 22 hundredths. 2 times 8, 16. 2 times 8 plus 1 is 17. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. Add a 0 as my placeholder. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 8 plus 1 is 17. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. Add them together. That would be 13 and 6. Now I need to look at my decimal. 2 numbers behind the decimal place, so I need 2 numbers behind the decimal in the answer. So that means 22% of 288 is 63 and 36 hundredths. So again, to find the percent of a number using a decimal, I change the percent to a decimal and then multiply them together. It's really not hard. Just be careful with that decimal. Don't forget to put it in the right place in the answer. Now for these 2 problems, once again, please pause and try them on your own, and let's see what you get. Let's see if you are able to follow the steps correctly and get the same answer that I do. So go ahead and unpause it when you are finished. Alright, let's see if you guys got the same answer that I got. So I know that in order to multiply, or in order to find the percent of a number, I need to multiply, but first, before I can do that, I need to change the percent to a decimal. So I have 0 and 12 hundredths times 91. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1. 0 is a placeholder, 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 1 plus 1 is 10. 2 numbers behind the decimal, 2 numbers behind the decimal in the answer, so my answer, 12% of 91 is 10 and 92 hundredths. Let's try B. Change the percent to a decimal. 18 hundredths times 121. But because I like the larger number on top, I am going to switch that around. So I'm going to have 121 times 0.18, or 18 hundredths. 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 1 plus 1 is 9. 0 is my placeholder, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1. 8, 7, 11, 2. 2 numbers behind the decimal, 2 numbers behind the decimal in the answer. So I have 18% of 121 is 21 and 78 hundredths. I hope you guys got the same answer that I got. Now, there's another way to do this. We could use mental math in some cases, but not all. Suppose 25% of 80 students in a survey said they have been to Florida. Find the number of students who have been to Florida. Now, I know that 25% is also 1/4, and that there are 4 of them in 100. So I know 4 times whatever equals 100, right? So that means, going backwards, if I was to find go back and find the percent, divide both sides by 4, this would equal 25. Now this doesn't exactly pertain to this problem, I'm just showing you some of the backstory of it. So 25% of 80. I know that in order to figure that out, 25% of the whole, I need to divide by 4. So what's 80 divided by 4? Well, that's easy, that's 20. So that means 20 students in a survey said they have been to Florida. Now let's go backwards. Let's find out. Let's work this out and see if the mental math method is correct. Change it to a percent, or a fraction, a decimal, times 80. 8 times 5 is 40. 16 plus 4 is 20. And look at that. 20 students. Because there are 4 of these in 100%. That means 1/4 of that is the answer. And that's quite easy to do in your head. So now it's your turn to try. Page 301, numbers 1 through 7. Good luck, and bring your questions to class tomorrow. Hope you have a fantastic day.